tomorrow night. Slot gave us an update on the future of Andy Robertson, and our reporter Vinny O'Connor is at Anfield for us now. Vinny, great to see you. What is the latest? Andy Robertson still be a Liverpool player come the end of this transfer window?
He is for the time being, Darmish, but there was no definitive answer when I pushed Arne Slot as to whether he would still be a Liverpool player once this window closes. Neither was there a definitive answer when it came to the question as to whether Andy Robertson, whatever happens in this window, could move on in the summer. Look, Andy Robertson has been integral to Liverpool's success that they've had in recent times, certainly under Jurgen Klopp. The fact that he's a two-time Premier League winner with Jurgen Klopp and with Arne Slot, of course, European Cup winner, European Super Cup winner, Club World Cup winner, two-time League Cup winner and an FA Cup winner as well. But at the same time, he's seen his role at Liverpool tail off somewhat this season with the number of starts that he's had. 11 in total, just 4 Premier League starts, 4 in the Champions League as well. So you can understand, a bit like Conor Cody, I suppose, Andy Robertson wanting more regular first-team football, particularly with the World Cup coming up as well. And we know that Liverpool have been in discussions with Spurs over a £5 million deal for Andy Robertson to go in this window. Now, we can understand why the plug has been pulled up to this point as well, because Liverpool have a bit of a defensive crisis going on already without Conor Bradley for the rest of the season. Giovanni Leone, of course, as well. Joe Gomez is the latest to suffer an injury with that collision with Alisson in the defeat to Bournemouth as well. He's out with a hip injury once again, although Arne Slot is not expecting that to be for too long. And Ibrahima Konate remains out of the picture at the moment for compassionate reasons following the death of his father. So Andy Robertson is available to face Karabag. But as I say, when I asked Arne Slot about Andy Robertson's future, he wasn't too committal as to how long he could still be at the club.
Robbo is part of the team tomorrow evening, and he's been part of this squad, of this club for so many years. And happy to have him. Good that he's available, because that's something that's quite important for us at the moment, to have players available. And yeah, he will be part of the team, and nothing happened from my side.
Is he definitely staying in this window, though?
It's hard to say anything definitive in this world we are in, but I expect him to stay, yes.
Without the Champions League, there would be an even different complexion on this season for Liverpool so far. Don't forget, they've beaten the likes of Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. They beat Marseille away from home last week, having already beaten Inter Milan away from home before Christmas as well. Now, Arne Slot said to us today, this could still be a special season. And by that, he means by winning something. If they don't improve in both boxes, though, he said it could only become an acceptable season. He wouldn't elaborate on exactly what an acceptable season is, but the bottom line is he still feels that Liverpool can win something and deliver success this season.
Vinny O'Connor at Anfield, thanks very much for now. Arne Slot is answering the question, we expect him to stay. He will not be able to give that definitive answer. Do you still see a world in the last 6 days of this window that Andrew Robertson could yet become a Tottenham Hotspur player, and what would have to happen?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. Not really. I think it's just too much of a risk for Liverpool to sell him. And the size of the deal, you're talking, what, £5 million? I mean, that's not enough to compensate for the loss of a player as good as Andy Robertson. And I think you saw when he came on at the weekend, OK, Liverpool lost, but you can make a case that he played better in the second half than Milos Kerkez did in the first half. So I would, for what it's worth, echo what Arne Slot said there. I would be surprised if he was to leave, because I think he's such an important player on and off the pitch. And Liverpool still have a lot to play for in the Champions League and the FA Cup.
I think that's absolutely right. Look, you've got to remember the injury problems that Liverpool are dealing with in defence. They're still assessing Joe Gomez, who's got that hip/rib problem from colliding with Alisson the other day. It could be that means he's got a spell on the sidelines. At the moment, Virgil van Dijk is the only fit centre-back they've got. All right, Konate is going to come back from some bereavement that he's been given some time off for, but they've got real problems in defence, and it's linked with Tsimikas as well. I think if Liverpool could have got Tsimikas back from Roma, that might have happened. This domino effect we talk over the. If they could have got Tsimikas back from Roma, they may have let Robertson go. But that looks really unlikely now, because Roma wanted David Muller, Wolf from Wolves. Wolves have said no, so that domino effect. Wolves won't let him go, Roma won't let him go, and I can't see Liverpool letting Robertson go unless something changes drastically in the next few days.
Don't go anywhere. Just one bit of breaking news away from transfers to bring you.
Right then, let's talk about Liverpool. Let's talk about James Savundra, Andy Robertson. Andrew, to you. Is he staying at Anfield?
Looks like Andrew is staying. Looks like deal off as things stand. Arne Slot said yesterday that he expects Robertson to remain at the football club beyond the end of this transfer window. We know he's out of contract in the summer. There was a move to Tottenham which had been spoken about, talks understood to centre around a £5 million fee, but that was dependent on Liverpool being able to get Kostas Tsimikas back from Roma. He's currently on loan there now, but Roma have been unable, as things stand, to have found a replacement for Tsimikas. So right now it does look like this deal isn't going to happen. Tottenham would love to bring in a player of his experience. Thomas Frank has spoken so much about leadership. That was a key point in getting Conor Gallagher to join the football club. That's why they'd like to sign somebody like Andy Robertson right now in the period they're in, the injuries they've got, that void when it comes to leadership. But Arne Slot said yesterday, it's hard to say anything definitive at this stage of a transfer window, but I expect him to stay.
What would you do, Dan, if you were Andy Robertson? I think even if he didn't play for these 15 games in the Premier League, this is purely my opinion, he would still start for Scotland and go to the World Cup and maybe wear the captain's armband. But he obviously wants to feature over the next few months. Is he more likely to do that at Tottenham? Ben Davies obviously out injured, but when Davies comes back, they've signed this 19-year-old Sousa as well from Santos in Brazil. That question, and is he what Spurs need in terms of leadership?
I think for Tottenham, yes, it's good business because he brings a winner's mentality to that squad who don't have much of that. But I don't see why Robertson will want to go. I think he still plays his fair share of minutes for Liverpool right now. He came on at half-time last week against Bournemouth. He's obviously the first replacement. When Milos goes off as a sub, he'll come on all the time, sometimes start. So he's not out of the picture, he's not making squads. If he wasn't in Liverpool's squad and the time was coming to an end, you say yes, it's a really good move for him. But I don't think he needs to play to get in that World Cup squad. I think he's an automatic starter in that team. And yeah, I don't see him leaving Liverpool for Tottenham right now when he's actually still getting a lot of minutes at Liverpool.
Sarah, what's the fans' view? Keep or sell Andy Robertson?
Keep. We haven't got like two defenders to rub together at the moment. And also, even if he's not playing on the pitch, he has such an impact in not just the team, the club. Like, he's a real leader, and quite frankly, we've not had a lot of good senior leadership this season. So yeah, we really hands off. You're not having him. That's it.
You're not having him, Daniel, but would you like him?
Do you know what? It's an interesting thing because I really, really rate Robbo. I think he's been a great stalwart, not only for the Premier League, but also for Liverpool over the years. You can see his energy, his pressing when he was in that Jurgen Klopp team, constantly just outrageous energy up and down the flank. But at 31 years old, does he bring that same tenacity? Can he bring that at Tottenham? We're a bit of a disarray at the minute. I don't think we really know what our playing style is at the minute. We've got lots of injuries, mostly in terms of our attacking front line. We just don't know where we can really get the goals from there. So when it comes to leadership, I think he'll be a great addition to the team, but I don't know if he's the right profile for what we really need in terms of bringing that kind of experience that Thomas Frank is talking about. We need more impetus from our attacking lineup. Our defence right now seems solid enough. We probably need more cover for right back at the minute rather than left back. But as it does seem, obviously the deal's now probably off now, so maybe we might need to look at more different targets, I guess.
And Sarah, you were saying during the break that you're going to cry on live TV, which always makes good viewing. So if you do want to do that, feel free. But there isn't much news in terms of incomings at Anfield. I can see the face already.
I just don't understand what the club is doing, and most of the fans don't either. We splash the cash in summer. We see that the team is unbalanced. Why are we not spending some money now to just guarantee a Champions League spot? There's so many fans are Slot out, I'm not. But when you see what's happened with Man United, what's happened with Chelsea, you're kind of like, oh, maybe there could be a halo that takes us through to the
Sarah, you say you're not Slot out now. I mean, Jamie Carragher on Monday Night Football agrees with you, but he says that if you don't finish in a Champions League spot, it's a different story.
Yeah. I admire Slot for kind of coming out fighting in the last press conference, saying about how many cups we've got and how many leagues we've got and in the time and whether this does look like failure for him. I think winning the league last season has done him no favours. And to questioned Gary Neville on kind of saying we're in transition. He says we're not. We absolutely are. You know, the players we've brought in are for the future, and they are starting to really make a difference. Whereas the team that won the league last season are really starting to falter and have done the whole season. It's like Slot got the last drips out of them, and there's not anything left in the tank, and nobody's bringing that out in them.
Dan, what's your view on this? Because there'll be people watching saying, small violins, you spent over £400 million in the summer, get on with it. What do you make of the situation with Slot, where they are in the table? And are you surprised they're not going for something in the window just to make sure they get Champions League football?
Listen, I feel a bit for Slot. Recruitment in the summer, everyone was praising it, right? And I was as well. Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz, a fantastic season at Leverkusen. You never know how a player's going to come into a new club and settle. Frimpong has been injured a lot, so they haven't had a right back. So you've almost had to take your best player from midfield to transition him to a fullback. Hasn't quite worked. Salah hasn't hit the heights of last year, probably because he hasn't got Trent behind him, feeding him all those lovely passes. So there's been a lot of players out of form, which has had this effect on the club. And then all of a sudden, everyone starts talking about the recruitment. The recruitment was fantastic. It just hasn't quite worked yet. But it's not an all doom and gloom situation for Liverpool. They're still well in the Champions League. They'll qualify in the top 8, so they don't play in February, which will help them. It gives them time to get a few bodies back, get some more consistent performances, and look, at the end of the season, the goal is Champions League football. I think they'll get there, but they obviously need to get a little bit more consistent in the league.
Right, Liverpool are looking to secure a top 8 finish in the Champions League with a win over Qarabag. We can cross live now to Vinny O'Connor, who is watching them prepare for that game. Vinny, afternoon. In terms of players potentially on their way out of Anfield, a name that's been banded around is Andy Robertson. Is he out there today?
He is out there. He's just made his way out. Liverpool just a little bit late starting training today. They're still actually to get the session going. If I step out the way, you'll be able to see them just gathering over beyond on the far pitch over there. Arne Slot is out there as well. But Andy Robertson, as I say, taking his place alongside his teammates ahead of training. Now, it seemed a bit strange, really, didn't it, for Liverpool to be contemplating letting Andy Robertson go in this window, even if he is out of contract in the summer, as the players just get into their pre-training huddle. But as I say, you know, it seems strange because of the fact that they need defensive options at the moment. They're already without Conor Bradley, of course, and Giovanni Leone for the rest of the season. They missed out on a target like Mark Gahey on the final day of the summer transfer window, and of course he's subsequently moved to Manchester City. Now, Robertson is someone who has filled in at centre-half before, albeit as an emergency measure. But, of course, Liverpool has suffered another injury in the defensive area as well, with Joe Gomez, who was forced off against Bournemouth with a hip injury. He's not out there. Ibrahima Konate is still not out there either, after his father sadly passed away as well. So it doesn't come as any surprise, really, that the plug has effectively been pulled on a potential move for Andy Robertson to Spurs. He is 31 years of age, as I say, out of contract in the summer, just 11 starts all season, just 4 in the Premier League, of course. And when you look at that, he obviously wants regular first-team football, looking ahead to the World Cup, obviously. But at the same time, I just wonder the fact that Liverpool have been involved in those talks with Spurs, whether that indicates that this is Andy Robertson's last season at Liverpool. For now, though, he remains a Liverpool player, very much a needed option as well in that Liverpool back line, and every chance, I suppose, that he would add to his 4 Champions League starts this season by figuring against Qarabag as well on Wednesday night.
Vinny, thank you very much indeed. Julien Laurent, what do you make of this then, this potential move for Andy Robertson? He's won absolutely everything there is to win during his time at Anfield. Jurgen Klopp absolutely adored him when he had him at left back and attacking left. He was basically a Gareth Bale, wasn't he, going forward? Is this what Spurs need, not only in terms of the player, because he's only 31, as Vinny just said, but the leadership skills that come with that experience?
Yeah, I think that counts a lot, the leadership, the experience, especially now that Ben Davies, as unfortunately for him, got that really bad injury. Because otherwise, in terms of left backs, and okay, Sousa might not be ready just now for the Premier League, but they still invested quite a lot of money on him. But you already have Udogie, you've got Spence who plays there. I'm not sure in terms of where you would strengthen the Spurs team that this is the priority. However, you're right, the leadership, the experience is probably needed as well for Thomas Frank. From a Robertson's point of view, with the World Cup coming, like Vinny just said, it makes a lot of sense for you to go to a club where I suspect you'll be guaranteed to start in Europe and in the league. Even if in the league the form is not that great, it's still very important for him in terms of match fitness for the World Cup and for his own career. But from a Liverpool point of view, unless you've got a replacement ready, so maybe bring Tsimikas back from the loan in Roma, that sounds a bit difficult right now. Don't let him go. If you don't have a replacement, don't let him go. You can't stay with Kerkez as your only left back between now and the end of the season. It's impossible.
And between now and the end of transfer talk, which is only a few minutes, we've got to pick that beautiful French brain of yours, Jules, and talk about Jeremy Jacquet, because last week you were telling me a good player will eventually play for France one day. Big money, Rennes wanted, it's gone quiet.